Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Notre Dame fans. Mike's here and Kyle Kelly live on the Blue and Gold YouTube channel. Hope you all are doing well, whether you're watching live, watching back, or listening to this as a podcast. Got a lot to discuss in the world of Notre Dame football recruiting, and this show is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Tailgate season is here. No one's going to get you ready for game day like Academy. So swing by your local store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need from grills to jerseys and more. And you have gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. 8 stores in the Hoosier States, including one in Mishawaka coming very soon. So check it out, Academy Sports and Outdoors, academy.com. We got Martine's in the chat, Steve, Eric. Eric's in here every show. Good to see you, Eric. Kyle, doing all right, my friend?
Yeah, it's always a race getting into these chats, or not the chat, but the live show after the Marcus Freeman press conference, but I made it here in one piece.
Let's do it, yeah. Leonard Moore probable, which is definitely a good boost for the Irish. Donovan Heiner's looking like he's going to play as well. Jordan, good to see you as well. So let's just dive right into it. There has been nothing to report on with Notre Dame's commits looking elsewhere all year, really. And the 2025 class for the Irish had 70 commitments, Kyle, if I'm remembering that correctly. Some are like the parting of ways, right? Some are true decommitments, but still 7. So far in the 26 class, it's 0. We're going to get to more of that in a little bit. So in the headline of this Irish commit visiting at an SEC school, it is not a 2026 prospect. It was a 2027 commitment for the Fighting Irish, Ellis McGaskin from Williamson, Mobile, Alabama. I'm actually going to give you the floor on this, Kyle. I don't know what you're going to say, but I'm sure you know what I have to say because I wrote an intel piece on McGaskin last night about this very topic. Notre Dame commit visits SEC school. Where do things stand? So, Kyle, I'm sure you read that, but what are your thoughts on this situation?
Yeah, excuse me. The one thing I'm wondering is if he actually made the trip. I feel like that's a bad job out of me for not confirming.
I'm pretty sure he did.
Yeah,
I believe he did. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking of that. Like maybe we're making something out of nothing, but it was expected for McGaskin to be at Mississippi State last weekend. And I think this was kind of expected. Like this is what, not more so that this visit to Mississippi State was expected from McGaskin, but I think that we had established pretty early on at Blue and Gold between Mike and I that when Ellis McGaskin committed to Notre Dame that this recruitment wasn't going to be over. I mean, Mike reported in McGaskin's commitment article, which Mike interviewed him when he announced that McGaskin said that, he necessarily wouldn't be done making visits, but it seems like the other visits were meant to be more casual. Saying that is one thing and, doing is another. What if you're going to visit other schools, you're there for a reason. It seems like in this case that the reason was to attend the game with his friend. I just wonder how many times you can say that before it becomes that he's actually looking elsewhere.
Yeah.
I'm not super concerned about it right now. Like I said, I think this was kind of expected. Let's just call a spade a spade. I think it's going to be hard for Notre Dame to sign a linebacker out of Mobile, Alabama. They're in a great spot now because they have this commitment, but there's a long way from now until next signing day. But you make a good point. The precedent's kind of being set in the 26 class that Notre Dame is doing, so far so good with 2 months out to signing day, holding on to their commitments. So yeah, we're seeing evidence right now with this new recruiting staff, spearheaded by Mike Martin, director of recruiting Carter Allman. I mean, it's a much different recruiting staff than they've had in the years past. That this staff is doing a great job holding on to these guys. So I don't have any reason to doubt that they wouldn't be able to do so with McGaskin. I just think that's going to be a challenge considering where he's located and that he's talked about being open to seeing other schools.
Yeah, there's some things to unpack here. And it's like you have the precedent And all the facts that you're talking about, a 4-star linebacker from Mobile who committed early after one visit, there is that context. But then there's also no two recruitments are the same. So you can't like when Thomas Davis, try not to get too ahead of ourselves because this is the next topic, but I'll go there now. When Thomas Davis Jr. officially visits Georgia, it's like, okay, a kid from Charlotte, his dad played at Georgia. He's officially visiting Georgia while he's a Notre Dame commit. All of those things, Kyle, would say, what? He's going to flip.
You said it. What I said.
You said it. I pushed back. I pushed back, as Mike Singer always does. I usually see things glass half full. I just do. And then it's like, oh, let me guess, Mike, the Goog feels good. Yeah, they did. And here we are, October 2nd. Anyone concerned about Thomas Davis Jr. right now? No. So, there's the precedent, but just because there's precedent doesn't mean that's what's going to happen. I just noticed my coffee cup here. This is my wife's. I was drinking out of it, but Kyle, one day you're gonna have this wifey mug too, and you're gonna have your coffee out of it. I like the good these wide coffee glasses or mugs, and I picked that one this morning. There was also one that says hubby, and no shame. Thank you, ENC. But anyways, the thing with McGaskin is, and I put this in the Lucky Charms article, I interviewed Joey O'Brien after he visited Notre Dame for the Purdue game. And my question to Joey was, how's the committed life treating you? And he said, everything is great. And then Joey O'Brien, one of my all-time favorite interviews. I've only been able to interview him 3 or 4 times, in the past 18 months or so since Notre Dame's been recruiting him. Kyle's talked to him a little bit more, I'm sure. Joey says, man, I really wanted to go to that Penn State-Oregon game. And he's like, just as a college football fan, he wanted to go see that game. It's an in-state school. It's easy to get to for him. And he said, I'm not going because, I want to be respectful to Notre Dame. And then I was like, you're going to have guys like Ryan Snyder, who, Blue White Illustrated, Penn State reporter for On 3. And I was like, man, you're going to have Ryan Snyder and these guys taking pictures. They're going to be tweeting about this. And he's like, yeah, that was also a part of it. Penn State and Oregon being his number 2 and 3 schools as well. And he told me in the article you can find at blueandgold.com, which this is also going to be a talking point. We're going to get to this in a minute. He was like, those are the 2 schools still talking to me. So he's like, Joey, as a high school senior who's been through the recruiting process for a while, kind of was able to understand that. I think Ellis McGaskin has now learned that from this Mississippi State visit. He tweets this right here, excited to be in Stark Vegas tomorrow, 46,000 views, right? I don't think he expects that when Mike Singer tweets 2027 Notre Dame linebacker commit is visiting Mississippi State tomorrow, that then that gets more attention. I don't know if Ellis really was he in his mind is just I'm going to a game with my friend who's actually considering Mississippi State, the impact of what that has. So I'm also not concerned about this at all. I mean, it's 27. I mean, McGaskin's a Mobile kid, yes, but and I say that because kids from the South who commit very early to Notre Dame, it's been a trend. It's something to watch. But with McGaskin specifically, I think he's really focused on being a leader in this 2027 class. And so we'll see. If he takes more visits, then we'll talk about it at that point. But for now, I think that this is kind of we have to talk about it. It's news. And maybe McGaskin's thinking, man, I'm just a kid. I'm a junior in high school. And it's oh man, when I visit another school like that, now this is a headline in a YouTube video. This is the recruiting world in 2025. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. Do you have anything else, Kyle, before we move on?
Glad you mentioned Joey O'Brien because just to be transparent, I put this on this same thought on Loose Emoji message board. I was just always put in the back of my head if, Joey would pop up at that Penn State Oregon game, just because, he kind of left the door open when I interviewed him in early or late August about his recruitment. And I think he used the phrase like, I'm not considering any other visits or any visits to any other schools right now. Now I'm paraphrasing, but in the quote he gave me, it was he left a little bit of a door, the door crack to visit another school. And
yeah, the right, not to interrupt you, but the right now thing, it's kind of just like filler words sometimes. It sometimes it's not, but sometimes it can be, right? I've been doing this for a dozen years. Like sometimes, when you read that right now, it sounds like just right now it's a placeholder, but sometimes, and I feel like this was in Joey's case, sometimes it's just filler words. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Kyle, sorry.
No, I mean, I know just talking to people about Joey O'Brien's recruitment that there's been a sense at points throughout it. It's like, what's Joey going to do? Like, there's like, he's kind of unexpected. Like, he can change his mind pretty quick. Like, I think you did the interview after he committed, and he had pretty much told you that he was going
such a good interview.
He was going to commit to Oregon, right? After that Oregon OV?
Yeah, Joey admitted that after, again, such a freaking good interview. Like, he really will peel back the onion with you. And I don't think he's like, he's just being himself. Like, like when you talk to Joey, you're like talking to a peer. And I'm 32 years old. And like, you feel like you're talking to a peer for me. Like, we're just having a conversation. And yeah, he said that, like Steve Wiltfong at Rivals always was talking about like, Joey is an impressionable kid. Like each visit he goes on, that school becomes number one. Joey admitted that he did. So yeah, and after Oregon, he thought he was going to Oregon, and he was like, I'm going to go visit Notre Dame just, because they've been so great to me. I think Notre Dame was his third offer after Duke and Toledo. So it's like, I'm just going to go visit or Notre Dame out of respect for them. So when you hear that, you're thinking, is that going to stick? And it has.
Yeah.
Is that where you were going with that?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much my point that I was trying to make was that he changes his mind quickly. So, that goes.
Would this one change? Yeah.
Yeah, this goes in to my thought of, why I maybe expected him or not. I did not expect him. Let me be clear. I did not expect Joey O'Brien at the Penn State versus Oregon game. That game at Beaver Stadium in State College, PA. I just was curious to see if he would end up there because I knew I mean, those two teams finished as finalists as a recruitment. Yeah. So, and Penn State, he has great relationships with the Penn State coaching staff. Like, that shouldn't be ignored. And so, obviously, good sign for Notre Dame that he didn't. I mean, he is not only he's been completely locked in with his words and his actions.
Yeah,
we're going to see him back on campus on October 18th for the USC game. I mean, honestly, pretty impressive for Notre Dame to keep him engaged and locked in too. Not saying that he is considering other schools, but I mean, this is we said it when he committed, one of the biggest recruiting victories in the Freeman era, and for them to, to keep O'Brien as locked in as they have is a pretty good hat tip to the staff.
Yeah, Justin ND says he could wear a hat and glasses, just go to the game on the low. You could
ask Johnny Manziel about doing that stuff.
If I'm Penn State and Joey O'Brien's coming to the game, even in that scenario, unless he goes as a fan and he buys his own ticket, and maybe Penn State wouldn't have even known, but that's probably a pretty freaking hard ticket to get. So if he's coming as a recruit and doing that, and maybe Penn State's able to hide him or whatever per Joey's wishes, if I'm Penn State, I am leaking that. I am leaking that 100%. You have nothing to lose. He's not coming to you anyways, but if you leak it and it gets out there, so a long way to say there's no hiding things anymore with recruiting visits and stuff. Like maybe 10 years ago you could do this, but nowadays, dude, you really can't do that. But it's a good thought. Didn't Connor Stallions go to games with hat and glasses? How'd that work out for them? I mean, I guess great. They cheated their way to a national championship. So, if you're not cheating, you're not trying, I guess. But not to get on a different subject. But put a pause in this discussion. We're going to come back to more on Joey O'Brien. But let's talk about Notre Dame memorabilia and unique one-of-a-kind Fighting Irish items. And you can, like, I'm sure there's other places to get it, but nothing is going to match Augie's locker room. Like, if you have like a man cave or an office and you like to decorate it with Notre Dame stuff, this is the place. And if you're not local or you're not going to be coming to South Bend anytime soon, you can shop online at augieslockerroom.com/shop. Augie's is spelled Augies. So augieslockerroom.com. And then, just click on the online store at the top. And yeah, you're going to be able to see, Notre Dame Stadium pieces, jerseys, helmets, autographs, one-of-a-kind Rockney items, and some of those things combined. You have signed jerseys or, where the hell else are you going to get a movie script signed by actual Rudy? Like, where else are you getting that? Augie gets new stuff in all the time. If he doesn't have something in store, he's going to find it for you. Visit Augie, 1733 North Ironwood Drive in South Bend, and see the vintage helmet display dating back to 1890, 1733 North Ironwood Drive. Give Augie a call during business hours, 574-277-6363. Gecko says, love Augie's great products that are verified. And Gecko also had a $5 super chat. What are the areas of improvement for Notre Dame when it comes to recruiting? Areas of improvement. They're identifying early. I feel like that was a thing we've talked about in the past. When I started Brian Kelly's, like, Notre Dame would get on kids late. Like, I feel like they're identifying early. They have a really good recruiting staff. Like, you have recruiting staff, the analyst staff that helps out the assistants, and then the assistant coaches, and of course Marcus Freeman. I think that's a well-oiled machine. I talked to Xavier Hassan, a top 2027 DB target for Notre Dame. I don't remember if I just said in the 27 class, but yeah, he's a high school junior. Mm-hmm. He told me he talks to Notre Dame every other day. Every other day. And this is 27. He's like, man, it's the recruiting staff. It'll be Coach Javon Codlin, who's an analyst, Coach Mickens. He said he talked to Coach Freeman on Monday. Like, they hit everyone up. And I'm not trying to say that Notre Dame's recruiting is perfect, but like just being put on the spot and asked, like, what's an area of improvement?
There's one glaring one.
Okay.
Interior defensive line.
Oh, if we're talking like this, okay, I was thinking more operationally. But yeah, if it's like, yeah, development or like, yeah, get like top talent. Yeah, interior D line has certainly been a white whale for Notre Dame for quite a while. So
don't let our buddy Tom Lemming on here. I mean, I was just talking to him the other day, and he told me how, Notre Dame hasn't signed a 5-star interior defensive lineman since like 1970.
I got that talk as well.
But yeah, I think that's just the glaring need. I know they, some people in South Bend think that they got a really good one, and Elijah Golden, that he's an elite level player. So, that shows signs of progress. Christopher Burgess was a highly rated recruit who looks like he's probably trending toward being an interior defensive lineman at the next level. But Notre Dame hasn't gotten one of those elite D linemen, which they're hard to come by. I mean, elite D linemen are just as hard to come by as elite offensive tackles and elite quarterbacks. But that's where I think Notre Dame needs to improve on a little bit. And if you want me to tie this into our next topic, we talked about this a lot. Over and over throughout the years about Notre Dame recruiting in Chicago. And I see it both ways, because that's the area they need to lock down. They need to get the elite talent from Chicago. But there's also Notre Dame's not Northwestern. Notre Dame can recruit nationally. They can get elite players from, as evident in this recruiting cycle, from Carrollton, Georgia. and from Forney, Texas, and the DFW, and they can get elite players from all across the country. It's just I can see why it's frustrating for fans that there's elite players that are 90 miles away or whatever it is from Notre Dame, and they're leaving to go play at Miami and other schools. So I think that's one. I just want to maybe. I guess I'm in unison with some Notre Dame fans. I would like to see them pull some of the elite Chicago talent and put it on its roster.
You're not from Chicago, but I feel like a majority of people who get upset about Notre Dame recruiting regarding Chicago are from Chicago. Like I feel like Tom Lemming is a Chicago guy, and that's what he talks about all the time. And like Notre Dame has been regularly signing guys from Chicago, so I think that's been a priority for Marcus Freeman. Like I know that they look harder in Chicago than any other area. Like going after like a Joe Reef and a Dom Hulock, like if those were kids in Carrollton, Georgia, I don't think they get offered. So yeah, I was told once, and this has always stuck with me from a good Notre Dame source, was that like the worst thing for Notre Dame, okay, maybe not the worst thing, but what they really don't want to have happen is a Chicago kid go to a school like Northwestern and be a draft pick. They do not want that. Like they want to get those kids. But you also just can't get all the Chicago kids just for the sake of getting Chicago kids. So like you said, there's a balance to it. And yeah, we're going to get to the Chicago thing next because may or may not be in Chicago tomorrow. But okay, obviously in the headline says Joey O'Brien and Khary Adams latest. So we've talked about Joey O'Brien half of this show, but like I alluded to, I interviewed Joey and he talked about why he didn't go to the Oregon Penn State game. If you're just joining us, rewind, you can hear about that. But I also asked him how he handles other schools talking to him, and this was his quote that I put out on social media and caught some attention. He said, I talk to Khary, talking about Khary Adams, fellow Notre Dame DB commit, all the time, and we're totally locked in. We're both going to Notre Dame. And what's Khary Adams' reaction to that? No cap. Khary Adams is, man, this kid is awesome. Paulie G on Twitter, I think this is actually a Notre Dame fan, says, any truth to Michigan flipping Khary Adams? Paulie's like asking a reporter that. And what does Khary say in response? A meme that says, our brains are shrinking. In other words, like, how stupid are we to have this conversation? That's essentially what Khary is saying, unless you guys are seeing that differently. Like, so what's the latest? Nothing. There's no latest. They're locked in. They're, with Khary, Michigan's trying. And I think like the Michigan side of things is trying to like stir that up, that in hopes that becomes something. It's not. Could something happen? This is recruiting. This is college football in 2025. Of course, something could happen. But right now on October 2nd, what's up, Mason? Dude, everything is great. Everything's great. Everyone's good. I mean, you have the Carrollton, Georgia, the Forney, Texas. Like you talked about, those running backs are locked in. Everyone, like Aiden Pouncey. You talked about our buddy Tom Lemming. I remember interviewing him about Pouncey's commitment, and he was like, "Man, Florida kid from Orlando. Like, I with all of his ties to the Gators, and Pouncey grew up a LSU and Miami fan. Like, those were his favorite schools watching growing up. You would think, no, it's good. Everyone's good. Everyone's good." Dalton says, Mike, why do you think 2 losses to the start of the season did not impact recruiting? There's like 50 different things to discuss on this, but like Notre Dame got commitments from kids who just have bought in. They have bought in. They've bought in. And also, unless the wheels really fall off the wagon, 2 losses by 4 points against Miami and A&M, 2 really good teams, aren't going to do much. They're not going to do much. Why would I pick a school based on results when I'm not even there yet? Like, unless things have really fallen off and now your coaches are getting fired and, hey, the program's trajectory has fallen off a cliff. That's different. But the kids just view things differently. So it's like, Notre Dame fans, some of you guys after the A&M loss are like, we're going 6-6. Is Freeman the guy? And now it's like, now we're 2-2, and it's like, of course we're making the playoff. I never had a doubt. We're the best team in the country. What do you mean we're number 18? We're the number 5 team in the country. It's like, the kids are, not as overreactionary about a loss or two. So,
have you seen Josh Pate's poll that he puts out every week, and where he has?
I don't understand it, but Josh Pate has hit my algorithm. And he's got Notre Dame, 5?
Yeah, it's hilarious. He has Notre Dame as a top 5 team. So we got to listen back to Josh Pate and his explanation, because Josh Pate's like, he's kind of like hated among the Notre Dame fan base. I feel like Notre Dame fans don't like him because they think he's biased against Notre Dame.
Who in the national media? Who do Notre Dame fans like? I think Greg McElroy is
McElroy.
Yeah. Sorry, pronunciation king. JD. I think JD is mostly like JD Piquel.
Yeah, he came in here with a prediction back in the summer that USC was going to beat Notre Dame at home.
And he also picked LSU to win the title. He did.
I think people respect Andy and Ari. They like him. I haven't heard of anyone saying a bad thing about Chris Lowe. Chris
Lowe's solid. I'm thinking more video.
No, I know.
Yeah, Ari is a little polarizing. Ari's kind of thing is arguing with people on Twitter, which, is fun. And Ari did a really good job on our video. He was fired up. The Ari thing, all Ari said on the video, to sum up like a 14-minute video that I did with him on Sunday, was, I think Notre Dame is a top 10 team, and I think they're going to make the college football playoff, but they're not a lock based on it's a college football committee. Like it's a subjective thing. And for people still out there who think if Notre Dame goes 10-2, 100% it is a lock. I got to pick my words very, very specifically here. I think you need a little bit more critical thinking skills. You have to be able to think about this a little bit more logically. It's not a lock. It's likely, but it's not a lock. 100% ain't no guarantee at all. At all. So, Justin ND Sniper says what Ari said wasn't even controversial. Of course, it's not 100%. You'd be surprised, Justin. All right, we're getting off topic. But yeah, that's it for Joey and Khary and really everyone else. Everybody's good. But yeah, I loved that from Khary. And this is not the first or second time that he has publicly come out and said, I'm good. It's awesome. I love it. It's been great. Okay. All right. Well, let's talk about Game Time. Don't get it twisted with GameTime.com. It's GameTime.co. Okay. Buying tickets for your favorite sporting events and more can be a nightmare. You got the queues, the logins, the price hikes. It can really take the fun out of buying tickets for sports, comedy, music, theater, and more. Game Time is a game changer. The app puts the advantage back in your hands in just a couple of taps. You'll get great seats at a great price, and tickets start as low as $25. The price you see is the price you pay. No hidden fees sneaking in at checkout. You can even see the view from your seat before you buy, which is awesome. And with their zone deals, you pick the section and Game Time will pick the seats, so you save even more. Everything's backed by Game Time's guarantee, so you know that tickets are legit and on time. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets for college football and more. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code ON3. That's ON3 for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Swipe, tap, tickets, go. Download Game Time today. All right, take a sip of water. And Kyle, tomorrow morning, flying up to Chicago. Really looking forward to it. Someone was talking about Chicago deep dish pizza. Mark, I just found it, says Chicago pizza overrated. I have not had really good deep dish pizza since it was actually I was in DC. I was in Washington, D.C. at like a Chicago place with my buddy. It's like 2021. I went to see Devin Houston. That's how long ago this was. Or 2022. Anyways, so I'm landing at Midway and going to a deep dish pizza spot. And then I'm going to hang out at a coffee shop, get some work done. Kyle Kelly will hopefully make it so we can hang out at the coffee shop. Looking forward to seeing Kyle. And then we are going to see, according to the On3 Massey ratings, or is it Rivals Massey ratings now? I don't know. Number 2 and 3 teams in the state of Chicago. Brother Rice going to Mount Carmel. Kyle and I were talking about this off air, like in all the time we've been covering recruiting, it has to be the most loaded game between two schools with key Notre Dame recruits. Notre Dame legitimately leads for, at least in our opinion, I would say Braden Parks. Who knows? Maybe Cameron McGee in the 28 class. Maybe Jack McNamara in the 28 class.
I would say I don't think they lead yet for Cameron McGee, but I think they definitely lead for Jack McNamara.
So McNamara's a 28 tight end at Brother Rice. Parks is a defensive lineman for Brother Rice. McGee's a big-time edge in the 28 class. And then at Mount Carmel, the home team, I think it's Irish or Michigan for Quentin Burrell, 2027 top 100 wide receiver. Steve Woldfong's already picked Notre Dame to land 2027 safety Tavares Harrington. And then Roman Igwebuke, 2027 four-star linebacker. He's visiting Notre Dame on Saturday.
Does not have
Bone Crusher. Bone Crusher. Eric, I think I am going to Lou Malnati's. I don't know if it's the original location, but it is right by the Midway Airport. So I'm getting in the rental car and I'm going to go eat because got to eat. Everyone always asks for updates on Bone Crusher. Number 41 overall player, 6'5", 355 pounds. Someone ping J Carr. Where's J Carr? This is his boy. I don't know about, Notre Dame's offered him. I don't know if he's visiting or anything soon, but hey, we're going to go see Caleb Tucker. Marshawn Thornton's a 28 wide receiver. He's visiting Notre Dame on Saturday. So, yeah, Kyle, it's going to be a lot of fun, man. I'm looking forward to seeing you. We're going to go to this game, and, yeah, it's going to be loaded, bro.
We're going to have our hands full. There isn't many games that require, 2 reporters from the same outlet to attend, but this is one of them. Both these rosters are loaded. I saw this game a year ago, and I'm trying not to sneeze. I might have to. Let me see. Am I going to sneeze? I'm going to sneeze.
I muted you. I thought you were about to.
I can feel the sensation, but I'm not going to sneeze. So I saw this game last year, but the only guy I was really watching was Braden Jones, who you and I both thought was going to end up at Notre Dame, but ended up committing to USC out of nowhere last year. So, yeah, I didn't really know a whole lot about, Quentin Burrell or Tavares Harrington or, I knew about Braden Parks last year, but yeah, in terms of some of the other guys, not a whole lot. But what I really do know about these teams is they're 2 of the best teams in the Midwest. I've talked on this channel before about how I like to go down to Cincinnati every year to see the Archbishop Moeller and St. X game, St. Xavier, because that's always one of the best games up here in my end of the country. This one will be one as well. And, yeah, it ties into my what I was saying earlier, that I think Notre Dame needs to improve in Chicago with Chicago recruiting in terms of just landing some of those top tier guys. And it feels like once again for like the fourth or fifth straight cycle, here we are talking about Notre Dame leading early for some of the elite prospects in this cycle from Chicago. But will they end up coming to Notre Dame? It feels like we have the same conversation all the time. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing these guys play. Like I said, I saw the game last year. I've seen Quentin Burrell in person at a camp. He was at Irish Invasion, which I know Mike focused on him. I was
Yeah, he was
covering
awesome.
defense that day, so I was keyed in on Braden Parks, who I think is borderline elite player. At least he looked that way. So yeah, we are going to be very busy on Friday night, but for good reason.
Yeah, I'm pumped. I've never been to a high school football game in Chicago, so I'm excited. Man, believe it or not, I haven't spent a whole lot of time in the area before. Last year, I was in Chicago for like a boys trip, and we stayed in Wrigleyville and went to a Cubs game, and had a great dinner and with some colleagues, which was really cool. A couple days. Trying to remember what else I did there. Had a couple of beers. Shout out Shingles. But yeah, it was a good time. So I'm excited. And then Saturday going over the Notre Dame for the Boise game. So, Kyle and I should be arriving at about the same time, taking 2 cars over there because I got a rental. Because I got to fly back on Sunday morning. Kyle's going to go back to his home in Ohio. Kyle, we gotta make our way around in the tailgates a little bit. I know you probably just walked straight in, but I'm here.
We're not gonna have the time, man. I'm telling you, when we're rolling in at when we plan to on Saturday, you might have the time, but I know for me, I got to get a move on it to get over the Victory March for photos, and
that's true.
It's always so it's stressful sometimes getting there.
Yeah.
Especially coming from Chicago.
What time's the Victory March?
2.5 hours before.
2.5. Okay. So, yeah, that's true. That's true. I guess we don't have to leave at the same time also. Yeah, because I don't know. I don't need to be there. Like, I know for the last time I was there, I took some video and pictures or whatever, but I don't really need to do that. Huh. Nice for me. Since I usually don't go to the home games, I don't really have any responsibilities, so it's kind of nice. Scout said, I know this is off topic, certainly on topic. It's Notre Dame recruiting. Has Notre Dame given up on the state of California? No.
Chad Bowden's made it harder on him, though.
Yeah, man, it's so far. It's so far. But no, it might be a quality over quantity thing. But no, they just landed Madden from there last year. No commits in California right now, though, right?
But that could be a story idea. I wonder when the last time that happened was.
There you go. There's a story idea, and then also, have we done anything? This might be more of an off-season thing, but like the top 5 or 10 recruiting wins under Marcus Freeman, that'd be a good piece. But no, I mean, no, definitely not giving up. But man, it can be cyclical. Like some years they don't sign anyone from Chicago, and then they get like 4 in Georgia and 4 in Florida, and then the next year it's more in Chicago and LA, and then it's like none in the South. It can be, or not South, but Florida, Georgia specifically. So yeah, it can be cyclical. So yeah, really looking forward to that game. Kyle and I will have tweets and coverage, and be posting on the message board. Which, man, if you're a Notre Dame fan and you're, let's say you've watched or listened to every minute of this, I consider you a junkie. Like, you live and breathe Notre Dame football. And blueandgold.com is the place to be. I'm telling you guys, like, just go to the recruiting news feed. Just so much recruiting content. I mean, we have 2 full-time recruiting writers, and myself and Kyle Kelly. And then Tyler James writes some big picture recruiting articles and analysis of commitments and film breakdowns. So news, intel, analysis, like no one is recovering Notre Dame recruiting like Blue and Gold. So, and then, yeah, we have the insights of Eric Hansen and Tyler Horka and Jack Sobel do a great job covering Notre Dame football. I'm sure you guys love their Notre Dame six-pack show. So just blueandgold.com. It's the place to be. Highly recommend you get over there. Kyle, I did want to talk about like the recruiting weekend for Notre Dame. So I say this all the time, but I can never, expect that everyone is reading every update. So let me just say this. Notre Dame really tries to, like, if they have 100 recruits that they're after, right? They'll want to funnel those kids into the night games, right? Big Notre Dame night game. They want those kids to really go to that game because it's just the best atmosphere. And if you're a kid coming from California or Florida or Pennsylvania, it's probably a flight. I guess Pennsylvania could be just a real long drive or something, or North Carolina, right? It could be a drive, could be a flight. It's easier to get to South Bend, Indiana when it's a night game, right? So it's more marquee game and it's easier to get to South Bend. So these day games, this 3:30 kick is not as marquee, but still some solid visitors. You got two commitments, Ben Nichols and Sully Garvin. Garvin's visiting Notre Dame every game. So a couple Midwest commits for the Irish. And then a few others I wanted to touch on. So again, a lot of Midwest guys visiting for these day games. It's just an easier drive. Tristan Hughes is an interesting one from Rocky River, Ohio, a class of 2027 athlete, true two-way guy, real productive on both sides of the ball. Committed to Syracuse about 3 weeks ago. So no, he does not have a Notre Dame offer, but Tristan Hughes coming to town. King Pitts, all-time name. I think he was committed to Texas for a couple days or something. I don't know. He's coming in from Cardinal Newman, California. So forget everything I just said about these. Kyle, can you look up if Cardinal Newman in California has a bye week? He's originally from Honolulu, but he goes to. Actually, is this just here? Okay, so he does have a bye week. So bye weeks would be the exception. It does look like they.
Is he a 28 kid? I don't have my glasses on. It looks
he
like
is a 28 kid. Did I say 27?
Yeah. No. I just couldn't tell if that was an 8 or a 6.
It is
because I was just so confused. How can a 28 kid already be decommitted? But I guess you explained why.
Yeah, I don't really understand it, but like he put out some kind of statement that I was like, I'm not committed anywhere. I don't know what happened there, but anyway, whatever. 6'5", 230 pounds, defensive end, number 77 overall player, number 9 edge. Notre Dame's actually recruiting him as an offensive tackle, from what I understand. So wouldn't be surprised if he's an offer for Notre Dame at some point. Same with Jevin Severson, 6'5", 230 pounds as well, from Madrid, Iowa. Number 81 overall player, number 3 tight end, top recruit in Iowa. Also for the 2028 class. So you got an ACC commit in Tristan Hughes and a couple top 100 overall players. And then this kid's super interesting. I don't know if you're familiar with Drake Colner yet. Safety in the 28 class, 6 foot, 195 pounds. Like 3 weeks ago, 0 offers. And now he has Liberty, Vanderbilt, Wake Forest, Duke, and A&M, and Troy. And he's a kid from Carmel, Indiana. So I think that's an interesting one. So he's visiting, or at least he told me that's the plan on Saturday. So solid visit list. Nothing robust. But this is pretty much the expectation for these day games. It's, kids coming on a bye week, maybe from outside the Midwest, but otherwise, just some Midwest kids who can drive over. So, yeah. That's the gist.
Not to mention our 2 guys from Mount Carmel, Roman, the linebacker.
Yes, yeah, of course.
Coming in, he's looking for an offer. Interesting enough, one of the top linebackers in 27. Notre Dame hasn't offered him yet, and then Marshawn Thornton, who's one of the top wide receivers in the 28 cycle from Mount Carmel, he'll be coming in. So, 2 guys on offer watch. I feel like any of those guys you mentioned could get an offer as well. So, yeah. It's I will say, I feel like Notre Dame's doing a better job with some of the guys they're bringing in for even like the 3:30 games. I don't know. I feel like you may disagree, but I don't know. There's intriguing names to me, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. I wonder if even like when I first started covering Notre Dame, that NBC slot was usually 2:30, and they
I
put the games
know.
at 2:30. Now it's 3:30. I wonder if there's even something there where it's like it's an hour later. It's even easier to get to. You have more time to drive into South Bend, from Ohio or heck, Indianapolis. That like what 2.5 hour, 3 hour drive or whatever it is. Like, I just wonder if that's just makes life a little bit easier. So something that I've thought of. So I think that's going to do it for this show, Kyle. If you're just watching and you're like, I want my news about this Irish commit visiting an SEC school and what's going on with Joey O'Brien and Khary Adams. Well, we already talked about it. So rewind, watch from the beginning of the show, and also hit the thumbs up on this video. If you have not done so yet, Brian says extra hour to drink beer. Folks, please hit the thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to the channel for more content. Head over to blueandgold.com. Like I was talking about, it is your home for all things Notre Dame football. Basketball season coming soon. We have 6 full-time writers at Blue and Gold, so lots to cover. Great insight from everyone. So please check out blueandgold.com. If you're listening to this as a podcast, please leave us a 5-star review wherever you listen to your podcast. And that is going to do it for this week's Notre Dame recruiting update. I'm Mike Singer, and that's Kyle Kelly. We'll appreciate you all for watching. And as always, we will catch you next time.